Hello, I'm Pastor Joe, and I want to welcome you to Sailing Discipleship. You know, recently I had a job to fix, a repair job. I had to replace our steaming light. But the way the previous owner did the wiring and connected up to from the inside to the mast, it's difficult to drop the mast. So I decided that I would climb the mast. And so I wanted to share with you how I go about climbing the mast, how I go about going aloft. Now, let me say at the outset, I'm not an expert at this. Back in my younger days, I did a little bit of rock climbing, and so I'm familiar with all of that. But there is risk of going up the mast. There's always a risk. And so whatever I do, how I do it, I'm comfortable with the risk of that. So you know, I'm not telling you this is the safest way or the best way. This is just how I have found it works, and it's a level of risk that I'm willing to take. So I thought I would go over the gear that I use, and then I thought I would demonstrate how it works. So all the gear that I need is in this little tub, this little box. So it begins with a climbing harness. I got the it's a Camp 2, or it's the Camp Energy CR3, and it's got the leg loops and the waist, all that, and it's comfortable. I was up probably about 45 minutes working on that light, maybe, and I thought it was very comfortable. So the kind of the base of the whole system for me is the climbing harness. Then I've got 2 ascenders. Now these are small ascenders. I didn't go with the full size, I guess, but these are the Ropeman 1 ascenders. Now there's a Ropeman 2 that have come out since these, and the difference, I'll put pictures up, but the difference is the teeth that grip the rope. And the ways these work, and I'll demonstrate this in just a second outside. They open up, and the rope goes through there, and then you put a hauler through, a carabiner through, and then the rope is between the carabiner and these teeth, and so it can slide up, but it can't slide down. The new ones have pointed teeth, individual teeth, and these have kind of ridges. I thought this would be a little bit smoother on the rope. I've got 2 of these. I've got an orange one and a blue one. They're just alike, just different colors. And I use one that's attached to my harness there, and then the other I've made some foot loops. So it hangs down on it, and then I put my feet in it, and I use my feet to grip the mast. And then it's kind of like an interim. You stand up, you raise your waist ascender, and then you sit on that and you raise your feet, and then you reverse that, basically coming down. Like I say, this works pretty well for me. I've been happy with it away from that. Now I will say what I do is I use one of my prusik loops that I made, and I'll put this on a second halyard. And tie the prusik knot to that, and then it will slide up, but when you got weight on it, it can't come down. And I'll then attach that also to my harness, and as I go up, I just bring it with me. It's on another halyard, and it acts as basically as a safety backup. So if anything were to happen with either my ascenders or with the halyard that I'm climbing, then this is there as a backup. One of the things I hope I never test, but it gives me and my wife a little bit of a feeling of security. So you've got the harness, 2 ascenders, foot loops, and then for a safety measure I have a prusik knot also. Alright, let's go outside, and I'll put this on and I'll demonstrate how I go about it. One of the things that I forgot to mention, I use a second prusik loop to attach to the halyard that I'll actually be ascending, and then it's attached to the base of the mast. So once I put weight on it and the halyard stretches, I can adjust that that prusik knot to hold the halyard enough so that it, as I'm climbing it, the rope doesn't lift and lift up, so there's not too much slack. Here I am attaching the second prusik knot to the second halyard. This is the prusik loop that will act as my belay, my safety line. So the prusik knot goes on the halyard, then with a carabiner it will attach to my climbing harness. Here I am attaching the ascender that my foot loops will be connected to. I use locking carabiners, and so be sure you lock those. It just gives another measure of safety. As you can see, I've attached the ascender to the halyard, and the carabiner goes through it, and so that acts as the one of the gates, and then the teeth part, the brake part, is on the other side. Very simple design, but very effective. Here's some video of me going up the mast a couple of weeks ago, but you can see how I alternate standing on the foot loops and raising my harness, and then sitting on the harness and raising the foot loops. And then when you're ready to come down, you basically just reverse everything. Okay, so I hope that gave you a little idea of how I climb the mast, how the equipment kind of works. Now I will say, when I climb up the mast to do some work, I don't carry any tools with me. I'd rather not have them hanging off of me. Now what I do carry with me are these small carabiners. Now these are not really weight-bearing carabiners. I would not want very much on them. They're just cheap key ring type carabiners. But I keep several of these on my climbing belt, my harness, and I carry some paracord. And when I get to where I want to work, whether that's the top or whether that's around the spreaders, I can stop there and I can lower the untangled paracord and lower it down with this hook to it. And my wife or whoever is with me then will hook this bucket. This is just a canvas bucket. I picked it up, I don't know, $12, $13, $14 at Harbor Freight. I took their handle off and just put on a rope handle that has a carabiner on it. So whether I put on another one or usually I have a loop, I'll put this on for a little bit of weight, and then it's on a loop, and then they'll hook that on it. I can then pull it up, and then I can either hook this bucket to me or tie it off on the spreader or on a prusik knot up at the top or whatever. But that way I've got all the weight in here, and I can pull that up separately, and then I can lower that, so when I'm coming down I don't have to worry about where that is. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope this has proven helpful. And if you undertake it, again, I will say be careful. I don't care what method you use to go at the mast, there's risk involved in that. But I think it can be done relatively safely, mitigating as many risks as possible. Just take your time. Or if you can lower the mast, that's all the better in terms of danger and risk. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching this video of Sailing Discipleship, and I hope to see you next time.